That's in this big chair?
Yes, that is for you.
Is this for me? Fantastic.
Yes.
Who sang the jingle, first of all? Can we hear it again?
Miss Cindy in the morning.
Woo-hoo! That's fantastic. That made my day. I'm going to tell you that right now. That made my day. Well, thank you for having me. This is a real pleasure for me. And Diana said to me when she asked me, she said, would you feel comfortable coming and talking to these girls? I jumped on it. I said, would I? No, because I get nervous. But I want to. I really want to. And you know what? I want to start with that. So a lot of people ask me that question. Do you get nervous when you talk in front of a crowd? I do. I really do. And I know that that's kind of odd because, when you think about it, I've been speaking for a living for 18 years, even though I'm only 19 years old.
Got it.
Do that math. I've been speaking for a living for like 18 years. So should I still get nervous about doing this sort of thing? Yeah, But you know what somebody told me one time? When you get nervous about things like this, when you get nervous about public speaking or maybe standing up in front of your class and giving your report and you get those butterflies in your stomach, that is your body's way of telling you that you're really excited, that you're really actually excited. So your brain is trying to get more oxygen, your body's just excited, right? And you're just trying to say, okay, we can do this. And then you take a deep breath and you do it. So I'm super excited about this program. I stumbled upon the program. I've only been in the Fredericksburg area for a little over 5 years. And so when I saw this program, I thought, what a fantastic way to get together with great girls who I know are all very talented in their own way, who all have their own path in front of them, who all have all of these wonderful opportunities, and to be able to sit down and talk to these girls in a safe place, and to just feel comfortable, right? And to just feel okay about saying whatever you want to say and asking whatever you want to ask. So in just a few minutes, I want to take whatever question that you have and be able to open the floor to questions. But two things I wanted to share really quickly before I open the floor to questions. And that is something about beauty and something about power. I was looking over your website, and in my interview with Diana, I kind of picked up on those things, that these are kinds of things you talk about a lot. You talk about beauty, and you talk about, finding that inner beauty and knowing how beautiful you are as a person. And you also talking about being confident and being powerful. Well, I want to talk about beauty and the three things that mean beauty to me. Beauty is about your attitude, it's about your behavior, and it's about your actions. That's how you create beauty. So if you've got a nasty attitude, that's not very beautiful. If you're having nasty actions, well, that's not very beautiful either. And if you've got nasty behavior, well, that's certainly not very beautiful. So those are the three things I kind of go by. You know what? I want to be a beautiful person. So that's how I can do it. It's with my attitude. Sometimes I got to check my attitude, girls. I'm not even playing. Sometimes I have to check it, because sometimes we can get our attitude up on our shoulders and say things we don't want to say. And sometimes you have to check your attitude and your behavior and your actions and make sure it's all about being the beautiful girl that you are. And about power. I've got this little equation that I learned years and years ago. And you know how you become a powerful, confident person? Presence plus posture equals power. That's the equation I use. It's really simple. Presence plus posture equals power. And that's something that I've learned in radio. And I'll tell you, if you want to be a powerful presence, if you want to be confident, that's one thing you have to work on. You have to work on your presence, and you have to work on your posture. And the reason I say that is because if you were to come into my studio on any given morning when we're in there chit-chatting, listening to music, having a good time.
Which is very cool, by the way.
Thank you very much, if I may say so. Yes, I love our studio. It's very cool. But if you were to come to my studio, you would find me sitting in a stool very similar to this one. And if the music is playing and we're not talking, my microphone, which is very large, is over here somewhere. I'm working on the computer, getting ready for the next thing. I'm probably going to be sitting like this. typing, working, looking, writing, getting ready. But the song's about to end, and I've got to talk. And it's about to happen. It's about to be go time. We call it magic time. So we're getting ready to hit that little red button that says on. And right before I hit it, I get little butterflies every single time. Just a little bit. And I know, I'm excited, right? Because little butterflies mean I'm excited. So I'm getting ready to hit that button. The first thing I do is sit up straight and check my posture. Because that gets me ready to perform with the power in my voice that I want to perform with. So if you were to come in and talk to me, I wouldn't be talking at this level. I'd probably be, all right, yeah, that's cool, whatever, all right. But if it's time for me to go and I hit that button, boom, my posture's up, my shoulders are back, I've got my posture, I've got my presence, and that equals my power. And that's sometimes how you can do it, you know? You can just have that posture and that presence, and people will see the power that you're giving off. And it really does give off such great confidence. So I just wanted to share those couple of things with you, and hopefully that's something that you can take with you. And the next time you get up in front of your class, you can just get the posture, flip the switch on, hit that red button, and talk with all the confidence and all the power in your voice that you can muster up out of there, right? All right, questions? Should we take some questions? Yes.
Why did you start doing the radio station?
Why did I? You know, it's a very interesting story because I was 18 years old and I was very interested in what I thought was going to be a career in criminology and in police work and detective work. I was very interested in that. And so I started going in that direction. And then I said, you know, my art teacher in high school, her husband was a general manager at a radio station. So, you know, I need a summer job. So before I go to college, get this summer job. And I decided, okay, I'm going to go in, do a little work, you know, learn how to use this in the office and that in the office and learn how to do this. And finally, the general manager came up to me and said, you know, you've got a really great speaking voice. It sounds really good. It sounds really strong. How about you be on the radio? And I said, nah, that's not me. I said, you know, I don't know. I've never even been into the studio back there. I don't know. I think I would get too nervous. I don't know. He said, just try it one time. So I did. It was Sunday afternoon. I'll never forget it. Sunday afternoon, right around 5 o'clock, they let me try it. And this was back when we had records. Anybody remember what records are? You don't remember now, but you know what they are now. You know, my youngest sister, who is 20, has decided to get a record player because she's gone vintage. That's vintage now, Diana. It's
Yes,
vintage.
I know.
But yes, we had records at the time. And then we switched to CDs, and now we're all music in the computer. So I tried it that first Sunday at 5 o'clock. And the very first time that I flipped on the microphone and said my name and said, hello, Richmond. My name is Dee Daniels, and I'm glad to be here with you. Now here's some music. That's all I said. But when I turned the microphone off and the phone lit up and I answered the first phone call and I said, hi, WGGM, I'm Dee, hello. And my mom was on the other end of the line. Pretty sure she was one of the only listeners I had on that Sunday afternoon on that very fuzzy AM radio station. But my mom was on the other end of the line and she said, we're all at the house and we heard you, yay! Big crowd in the house listening to my very first break on a little fuzzy tiny radio. It was fantastic, the feeling that gave me. I thought, I just talked to everybody in my family from a radio station. This is great. I'm telling you, I fell in love with it from that moment on. And I made that my goal. And I said, you know what, I'm going to study this. I want to get great at it. And I want to do everything I can to really be the best at it. Yeah.
Have you met Chris before the radio station?
Before I did my show with him, I did not, actually. When I came to Fredericksburg, I came with the idea that I was going to start a morning show here. They wanted to create a morning show, and they brought me in first. And they gave me the pleasure of finding the guy because we knew we wanted it to be a female-male show. and they said, we want you to help us find the guy. And I thought, that's great, because it really takes a lot of chemistry. It really takes two people that are going to get along and be able to sit across from each other and finish each other's sentences almost. It's sort of like a relationship, but not. We're our work relationship with each other, but it has to be a chemistry, and we found that we had it. We had an amazing chemistry. I tried it out with a couple of guys before him, and it just wasn't there. And then he showed up, and it was fantastic, and we knew it was going to be a really great show. And he's one of my dearest friends. So.
Do you make it look so easy though? And I said this to you when I was in the studio. You make it look so easy. And one of the things we talk about is, even though things seem easy, do you find it still work? I mean, is it still a lot of work, not in a hard way, but in a fulfilling way?
Sometimes it is hard.
Yeah.
And I would call it hard work. I give 120% when I'm there. I really do. And what you hear on the radio, we mean it to be fun and entertaining, and we want to make you smile, and we want to make you laugh, and we want to play your favorite song, and we want to be dancing with you while you're dancing, and we want you to call us and say silly things. But there are so many things that go into that, so many things that you don't see. There are just tons of hours of work that go into a 5-hour show. And we're very proud of that work. We're very proud of what we do. And at night, when we generally go home in the afternoon, and all of us, because Brittany is our producer, so she works just as hard and just as early. And at night, we have time with our families, we eat dinner, we have some TV time and do our thing, and then it's a little bit of preparation for the next day. So we're putting in, an hour or two preparation at night to get ready for the next morning, because we want to have material that's fresh, and we want to know what's going on, and we want to be able to talk about it. And although we can't watch every single show, we hope to know what's going on every single show. So that, if you're watching it, we want to talk about it. Yes, ma'am.
Me?
Yes.
What type of education did you want to get? Like, what type of education does it take to get to where you're at today?
That's a great question. I was really confused because, like I said, I was interested in going into criminology. And so I went to school for that, even during my first 2 years in radio. And I ended up getting a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. And I just had a passion for it. I really did. I had a very shocking death in my family. My dad's younger brother was killed in a car accident when he was 17. And because of that, I think that inspired me to want to get into the criminal justice system, to the justice system, and figure that out. You know what I mean? I almost wanted to figure out why that happened, and how that works, and what it means to be a lawyer, and what it means to be a victim and a victim's family, and how all of that works. I think that's what inspired me to want to go in that route. So once I got, my bachelor's, and then I got into radio, and I loved radio so much, I thought, well, now I gotta get better at this radio thing. I gotta go back to school and, try to see what I can do with that. But I realized what I was really looking for in the criminal justice area was that I wanted the justice system to be better at communicating. And here I was in a job that was all about communicating, and communications, being on the radio. So that's really where my passion was, but I really wasn't sure of it at first. So sometimes, you'll go to school for a little bit not knowing exactly what you want to do, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And so then I picked up taking classes in communications and ended up getting my bachelor's in communications and television broadcast as well, because I wanted to not only be an entertainer on the radio, but I wanted to do all of it. I wanted to do news and traffic and sports and weather, and I wanted to be able to do all of it. So I did end up getting my bachelor's, not only in criminal justice, but also in communications. Yes, ma'am.
When you started going on the radio, did you get other offers from different stations?
I did, and that's tricky, Then it's like decision time, right? Yeah, I did. You know what I had to do? I had to like double check, every time I came up with there was a big decision in my lap, I had to double check my standards and my values. And I thought, is this the right place for me? Is this the right direction for me? You know, or is this the right company for me? There's a lot of that goes on, which is why I never made quick decisions. Even though I might have got an offer and it sounded really good, it might even had a nice paycheck attached to it, I thought to myself, all right, don't let those dollar signs flash in your eyes. Let's think about this for a minute. And I did, and I took some time to kind of check my values and, you know, make sure this is the direction, stay true to myself, where did I want to go, find out what kind of intentions I had, you know, and find out what my next step should be. So yeah, sometimes I did have to turn down some offers, absolutely, yes.
How did you end up with D1.5?
I was in Richmond, and I was working for a very large company called Clear Channel, who owns a lot of radio stations, and they also, excuse me, own some television stations, and they own a lot of billboards. So that was a really good place for me to be, to kind of get the big media experience with a big company. And I did news there, and I really liked it, and then I thought to myself, boy, I can't keep waking up at 4 o'clock in the morning to go into work, this is too early. And then I saw somebody in Fredericksburg was looking for a 2-person morning show, all music. And I had been working in these big news stations, and I thought, ooh, music, I could use a little bit of that in my life. And then I also thought Fredericksburg, you know, it'd be an hour up the road from Richmond, and I've never been in the Fredericksburg market. I've never experienced that. And the Fredericksburg market is really cool because it's actually part of the DC market too. So not only do I get to be in Fredericksburg, but I get to be in DC, woo! So I said, this sounds like a cool opportunity. And then I found out, man, I still got to get up and be there at 4 o'clock in the morning. But you know what? It was absolutely well worth it because this has honestly been the best experience I've had in my career. And I'm having an absolute blast doing it. So I'm really glad that I saw that they were hiring, yes.
How loud do you talk when you're on the radio? Like how loud you're talking now? Or?
It's pretty loud, isn't it? I know.
No.
I have a loud voice.
Radio.
I am loud on the radio, it's true. But you know, a lot of people, especially with women on the radio, we have what we call equalizers. So it's a lot of wires and a lot of computers that take our voice through the microphone and equalize it and make it into, you know, it just filters. It gives it a lot more fuller sound and that sort of thing. So I definitely sound a little different in person than I do on the radio. And that's the case especially with women. Men, their vocal cords tend to be pretty thin. Women, because we're awesome, we have bigger vocal cords, and so it kind of opens us up. And so the filters that they have at radio stations will work a little more.
And also, are you good at singing?
I can sing a tune. I can. Thank you for asking. Yes.
Were you on the radio this morning?
I was.
What time
Which
was
is
it?
why I have bags under my eyes. I'm so tired right now.
What time was it?
What time was I on this morning?
Yeah, like from Friday.
Our show starts at 5. We get in about 4, somewhere in there. We start at 5 and our show ends at 10. So we have a 5-hour show, which is actually pretty long in comparison to a lot of different morning shows.
Were you talking about diets? Because I think that
I was talking about diets.
was it about like the whole
Lemonade diet and the celery diet and crazy
Yeah,
diets
I
like
was
that.
thinking
You
that.
heard it. Fantastic. Fantastic. All right, do you
There's
guys
a
I
question
missed?
over there. She's found
Okay,
it.
I'm sorry. Yes.
From, like, before you were on the radio station till now, did your personality sort of change once you were on the radio station?
Yes, actually it did. Being on the radio helped me certainly become a little more social. I'm a little bit of what they call an introvert. Anybody know what that means? You do?
But I don't want to say.
I'm a little bit of an introvert, which means I can be shy in crowds. Sometimes that makes me nervous, and I can be too shy, and sometimes I have to have a little nudging to go out and have a good time with friends. When I'm like, oh no, I just stay at home, I'll be fine. But you know, once I do go out, I find that I have a much better time, and I find that I'm living a much fuller life. I think it did. It did certainly change my personality a lot because it helped me become more confident and feel better about talking with people and sharing and opening myself up and trusting, and you know, it put me in situations like this where I'm standing in front of you beautiful girls and having a conversation. Yes.
How do you decide what to talk about more?
That's a tough road. You know, it just depends. You know, the day that Michael Jackson died, we knew we were going to be talking about that. You know what I mean? So it kind of depends on what's going on in the world. If something crazy happens on television, that's certainly something we talk about. But something else we do as a show, and it's just about what our values are as a show. And we sit down and we decide that together, right? And the two of us say, you know what? What's important to us? What do we want to get across? What do we want to talk about? What are we passionate about? So it's not always about entertainment and the Kardashians and American Idol and, you know, all that crazy stuff. It's not always about that. Sometimes it's about something that we actually shared over the summer. I lost my grandfather. He lost his grandmother. And we found out our news guy had cancer. All in the same summer. And that was very tough, I'm going to tell you. But it was one of those moments where, you know, when we were planning our show, we said, let's not worry about all this other stuff today. Let's just talk about that. And it was really hard for all of us because we were putting our own personal lives way out there. So that took a lot of trust on our parts. But I'm telling you, once we did, the community started pouring in with their support. They really did. The people were calling and saying how much that they cared about us, that they were thinking about us, that they were praying for us. It was such a great feeling to share that in a space where we don't normally share tons of personal information. And we just put all the celebrity stuff aside for the day and said, you know what? This is us, and this is what's going on in our lives. And the listeners really did respond. I don't know who was
So we've
next.
got about time for maybe 2 more questions.
2 more
So
questions.
let's-
Okay. Who was
Molly?
Yes.
Does your job pay a lot?
Does my job pay a lot? You know, I think everybody probably would answer that job question as, I wish it paid more. I don't care how much money you have, you always want a little bit more, right? You know, my job does pay a pretty good amount of money, absolutely. And it's certainly enough for me to be very comfortable, and for me to take care of my needs. And I think media in general pays pretty good money, but it's also a lot of hard work. And so, you know, the work and the money, they generally match each other. So you're gonna put in the hard work, you'll get the money.
We
I'll tell you
talk,
that.
Dee, sometimes about how women can tend to put our professional person below some other choices as we mature, and that
Yeah.
it's always good to kind of stay true to yourself, that you can support yourself and as need be, and as you agree with whomever your life partner is going to be.
Right.
So that's a good question as far as.
That's a great question. It really is. And you know, like I was talking earlier, sometimes I've turned down positions that offered me more money than what I'm making right now. And that was because it didn't match up with who I wanted to be. It didn't match up with what my intentions were, you know, and where I was going on my path. It might have been more money, but it wasn't for me. It wasn't the right spot for me. Okay, yes.
Who hasn't answered a question? Have you
Yeah.
asked a question yet?
Can I have an autograph?
You can have
Oh,
it.
yeah, that's why I wanna take a minute. So let's do one more question and
Okay.
wrap it up so we can get some pictures and some autographs and things like that.
Okay, maybe you saw who I didn't get to.
Who has not asked a question and they're interested in asking one? You haven't asked one yet, Sweetie, go ahead.
Oh, I have.
Okay, anybody who has not asked, this is your shot.
So-
Okay, go ahead. Girl.
Obviously being in this business is very difficult, because there's a lot of competition and such, but has there ever been, like, things that critics have said to you that have made you feel wary about doing it, and how have you overcame those sort of things?
That's a superb question. You know, it's funny. Yes, we've had, in my career, and especially now, that I'm in a much larger market than what I was. Because, like I said, not only are we in Fredericksburg, but we're also in DC and in Southern Maryland. Our signal for B101.5 reaches all the way up to Baltimore. So we have a lot of people listening. And we get nasty emails sometimes. We get nasty voicemails and nasty emails and nasty comments. And I wish I could tell you that it just rolls off all the time. Sometimes I do take it home and I think about it, and I try not to though, because I really think that my values and my ethics speak for themselves. And I put that out. I never want to say anything to offend someone, but then you have to think about it. If you're in a room full of 100,000 people, you're not going to please everybody with your opinion, you know? If I say, I think that Kim Kardashian, she's pretty, you know? She might be a little woo-hoo, but she's pretty. You know, if I say that, I tell you I'm going to offend somebody. And there's going to be somebody who's going to call and say, you know what? I wish you wouldn't talk about Kim Kardashian. I wish you wouldn't talk about Justin Bieber. I wish you wouldn't talk about this person and that person. You can't please everyone. And if you're trying to please everyone, you're going to fail. You have to find your indicator inside, and you have to follow that. And I try to do that no matter what. And if I get those bad things, I try to think about it, deal with it, and move past it, because there are 999 other people who are completely entertained by what I'm doing. So that one person, go listen to something else. Okay, I think that's it, yes?
Yes,
Okay.
but I do want to say thank you. I gave you a pen last time, so you get the
Yeah, we
coveted
get a
Girl
coffee
Smarts
cup.
cup. I don't know if you like
Fantastic.
sodas or
Oh.
coffee, but you're welcome to pour something in there
That's
and
great.
enjoy it.
Thank you very much.
Ladies, please, let's give Miss Daniel.